We're not driving downtown. I'll just ride together.
Good evening. Welcome to the regular meeting for Tuesday, May 16th. Everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call, please.
Mr. Grigsby.
Here.
Mrs. McCarthy.
Here.
Mrs. Saxon.
Here.
Mrs. Mira.
Here.
Mr. Vaca.
Here. Finalization of the agenda is
The agenda is final as presented.
Thank you. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the written summary of the regular minutes for the meetings on April 4th, 2023 and April 18th, 2023.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Tamira, second by Ms. Saxon. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tamira.
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon.
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. McCarthy.
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Exciting part. We'll go right into the superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Vaca and members of the Board of Education. To all of you out who are here supporting your colleagues and friends, we appreciate that. In fact, if you are one of our employees who is here supporting a retiree, would you please stand? Truly, it is my pleasure tonight to recognize the 2023 retirees of the North Ridgeville City Schools. Combined, the small group of 11 people that you are going to hear about here shortly has collective service years of 214. That's pretty awesome. We're so proud of the commitment and dedication that these professionals have put into nurturing the children of our community, and tonight we thank them for your service to the North Ridgeville City Schools. Additionally, we recognize them for their mentorship and leadership that they have shared with their colleagues, with me, and many others throughout the years. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I present to you the 2023 retirees of the North Ridgeville City Schools. For those of you who are with us in attendance, I am going to have you come up and stand with me as I read a little bit about you to the board and our audience. And then I would ask that you remain, and Brooke over here will let you know where to go, but we're going to take a photo, both individually as well as a group. Our first retiree cannot be here with us tonight, and for those of you who didn't see, we are hosting our first ever senior celebration. So Miss Petrea, or as we all know and love her, Petey Bianca, assistant principal at North Ridgeville City Schools, or at the high school, is currently outside working with our senior class, celebrating their success. So let me tell you a little bit about Mrs. Bianca. She has had an extensive history within the district, 23 years to be exact, starting her journey as a tutor in August of 2000. Over the years, she's held various positions, showcasing her commitment and versatility. During the 1992-93 and 93-94 school years, Mrs. Bianca dedicated her time as an unpaid volunteer office aide and secretary in the athletic department. In 1999, she became a substitute teacher and further contributed her time as a summer school secretary the summer of 2000 and 2001. On July 1, 2003, she took on the role of transition intervention specialist at the high school. Her involvement with cheerleading spans from 87 to 93, where she coached fall and winter varsity, fall JV, and fall freshman cheerleaders. Since the 2004-05 school year, Mrs. Bianca has taken on the role of senior class advisor, hence her absence tonight. Recognizing her capabilities, she was appointed as a student services supervisor in 2008, and later became a high school assistant principal starting in 2011. Mrs. Bianca's impressive journey exemplifies her dedication to education and her willingness to contribute to the school community. We thank her for her commitment to North Ridgeville City Schools. Next up, I call Leslie Boyce. Leslie is currently a kindergarten teacher with us at ECLC. So Leslie began her educational journey as a tutor in August of '98. Over time, she became a part-time preschool teacher and kindergarten teacher. Leslie's dedication led her to a full-time position as a kindergarten teacher at ECLC. Prior to NRCS, she served as a substitute teacher in 3 different school districts, launched the DARE program in Bay Village, and actively participated in various community initiatives. At NRCS, Leslie has held leadership roles as the Building Leadership Team Committee, on the district leadership team, and has served as the chain of command first person at ECLC. She contributed to the curriculum development in English language arts, social studies, and math. Leslie's exceptional contributions to the district for 25 years are greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna do it now or after? Okay.
This way. Oh, Thank you. Next, we have Carol Hughes. Not sure if Carol came in. She did not. Okay. So Mrs. Hughes has been an intervention specialist with NRCS since August 23rd, 2005, with prior experience as a special education assistant in Westlake City Schools. Throughout her career at NRCS, Mrs. Hughes has actively contributed to the school community. She has served on the Building Leadership Team for Liberty, participated in the Elementary Staff Summer Math Development Program, and contributed to the English Language Arts Course of Study team at Liberty. Additionally, she has taken on leadership roles as the grade level chairperson for 2nd grade and has been involved in transition planning. Mrs. Hughes has consistently pursued professional development opportunities, attending training sessions on math intervention, best IEP practices, Wilson training, and many more. Mrs. Hughes remains committed to supporting our students and fostering growth in the field of special education. We thank Carol for her 18 years of dedication to the North Ridgeville City Schools. Kathy Panyard is with us. Kathy joined North Ridgeville City Schools on August 11th, 1997 as a preschool intervention specialist. Prior to that, she taught multi-handicapped students at Murray Ridge for 8 years as part of the Lorain County Board of Mental Retardation and Developmental Disabilities. During her time at NRCS, Kathy held several leadership roles, including being the chain of command at Field Street Preschool. She actively participated in committees such as the Course of Study Review Team, Building Leadership Team, and the Transition Planning and IEP Best Practices Committees. Kathy's expertise and dedication have positively impacted both students and colleagues throughout NRCS for the past 26 years. Congratulations on a great career, Kathy. We thank you so much. Okay. Give you that. Give you the box. You're welcome. Congratulations. Of course. Our next retiree is Eleanor Parcham, who I don't believe is with us tonight. And Eleanor has spent the majority of her career here with us at St. Peter's School. So Eleanor, a dedicated educator, joined St. Peter's School as a tutor on October 15, 2012. With 32 years of experience as an intervention specialist in CMSD, Eleanor brought invaluable knowledge to her new role. In recognition of her commitment to improving literacy, she successfully secured 2 MHJ grants in 2010 and 2011, amounting to $6,000. These grants were utilized to acquire Fountas and Pinnell's level literacy program, specifically tailored for her 1st and 2nd grade students. Eleanor's extensive background and passion for teaching make her an asset to St. Peter's School. We thank her for her 11 years of commitment to St. Peter's and the North Ridgeville community. I know Lynn is here, Lynn Petroff. Okay. Lynn began her journey as a substitute healthcare associate in May of 2002. Later, in May of 2006, she was appointed as a part-time nurse at Lear North in our education center. Her dedication and commitment led her to become a full-time healthcare associate beginning in 2008-09. Alongside her professional responsibilities, Lynn actively engaged in various community roles. She served as a room mom and treasurer for the PTA and volunteered at Bloodmobiles. Prior to joining NRCS, Lynn gained valuable experience working for the American Red Cross as a private duty nurse and at university hospitals in Cleveland. Lynn's contributions over the past 17 years to the North Ridgeville City Schools are greatly appreciated. And before we were talking in the hallway, we remembered surviving COVID. So Lynn was definitely instrumental in helping us through those few years. So Lynn, thank you so much. You're welcome. Tom Honor. Mr. Honor began his tenure as head custodian at North Ridgeville Middle School on October 13th, 1992. Later in June of 2005, he transitioned to the maintenance department as a skilled worker specializing in electrical work. Throughout his time at NRCS, Mr. Honor has held numerous roles, including middle school wrestling coach, audio-visual director, track coach, football coach, athletic faculty manager, and chess computer club advisor. Prior to joining NRCS, he contributed his expertise as a youth sports coach in various leagues around Northeast Ohio. Tom, thank you for your 31 years of service, and we appreciate you more than you know. Okay, Lisa Fulkerson, you're here. There she is. So Lisa has one of those jobs that is probably one of our most difficult to fill, and she has worked as a crossing guard for us. And as many of you know, that has been quite a challenge, not only with the expansion of North Ridgeville as a whole, but also just working in some of the weather and climate that we deal with. So, but Lisa was hired as a crossing guard at Wilcox on September 5th, 2006. In the 2015-16 school year, she transitioned to a monitor aide at North Ridgeville High School. Before joining NRCS, Lisa served as a classroom volunteer at Liberty Elementary and contributed to the Rocky River Therapeutic Riding Program, and has worked as a fitness consultant at Ladies Workout Express. Lisa, we wish you the best in retirement, and we appreciate your 17 years of service with us.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you so much.
Right. Jane Gonzalez. Jane was hired as a preschool instructional aide at Field Suite on March 7th, 2005. She later transitioned to a one-on-one personal aide position at Murray Ridge, supporting a student during the 2006-07 and 2007-08 school years. Starting in 2008-09, Jane relocated to Wilcox Elementary and then moved to the preschool at Field Suite in 2011-12. Before joining Field Suite, Jane served as a substitute aide for NRCS. Additionally, she gained experience as a secretary in the psychiatry department at Metro Health Medical Center for 6 years and worked at Cleveland Public Power for 12 years. Thank you, Jane, for your 18 years of outstanding service and dedication to the students of our district. We appreciate you. You're welcome. Thank you. Next, we have Michelle Hyatt. Michelle Hyatt joined Field Suite as a preschool instructional aide on November 28, 2005. Prior to this role, Michelle gained experience as a substitute aide, actively volunteered at a school, taught classes related to cake decorating and candy making at her church, and served as a 4-H advisor while working at NRCS. It's a lot. Additionally, Michelle contributed to the Mini Ranger Summer Camp extended school year program as an educational aide from 2007 to 2016. Michelle, we congratulate you on a wonderful career and 18 years of service with NRCS. We appreciate you. Thank you. And last but not least, I'm not sure if he came in, Ralph Leonard. He did not, okay. So Ralph joined as a full-time school bus driver on August 6, 2013. Before taking up this role, he built a successful home maintenance company and held positions as a project sales manager at Worthington Industries, Lorraine Glass Company, and the AJ Glass and Mirror Company. Prior to that, Mr. Leonard spent 2 decades working for Amerlite Architectural Products as both a sales representative and a project manager. We thank Ralph for serving the students of NRCS for the last 10 years. And as you know, we need bus drivers. So if anyone's interested in retirement, we need you. The President Baca, Vice President Samira, members of the Board of Education, to all the families and friends, we present to you the 2023 North Ridgeville City Schools retirees. Congratulations. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Once again, congratulations to everyone who's retiring tonight, and to the family members that are here. Enjoy your loved ones in retirement. We're going to take a brief recess here so we can go out into the foyer area and get pictures with everybody. And please, there's still food out there. Eat some of the cake.
Can we get a group?
You can't close the door.
Oh, okay,
Don't
never
close
mind,
the
never
door.
mind.
No, don't.
If you guys can just quiet down, don't close the door.
Oh, don't know. We're really good. We're all right, Jackie. We're gonna go ahead and come out of recess. Do you have any announcements this evening?
Yes, Mr. Baca, I would like to remind our community that we have a survey that is out there that we'd love for you to fill out about the future of the facilities of North Ridgeville City Schools, and in light of the bond issue that recently barely failed. So check our social medias, North Ridgeville City Schools, Facebook, it's on there. It'll be on our website as well. So we appreciate your feedback.
All right, here's an opportunity for hearing of the public. If anybody's in attendance this evening that would like to address the Board of Education, if you've not already signed in, please sign in at the podium. Say your name.
My name's Rebecca Force.
Your address.
36240 Warrenson Road.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to put this.
That's okay.
First, I just want to say that I graduated from North Ridgeville as well as 3 of my boys, and I currently have 2 children in the district as well. So I applaud everybody that I have had contact with personally, because I have nothing but great things to say about it. That being said, my daughter Olivia is in the 8th grade at the academic center. Olivia has had issues with bullying since 5th grade. I classify it as bullying because it has mostly been the same group of girls going out of their way to be mean and malicious for almost 4 years. Olivia has been in counseling for the last 2 years. For the most part of this year, she has made drastic changes, even asking to speak with one of her bullies with the assistant principal present. Most adults wouldn't even do that. And for that, I'm incredibly proud of her. Some teachers have told me that other students, alienated students, see her as a safe space. In the last few weeks, she has been standing up for a friend.
Feel free to take a moment.
And in this process, she has made herself a bigger target. My issue is that the administration is hypocritical. Earlier this year, my daughter was told to bring bullying concerns to the office as they happen. She did that the week of May 1st, giving Assistant Principal Mitch Heffron the awful text message that these bullies sent. They were mocking children for crying after being viciously bullied. She and I were told that since these texts occurred outside of school hours, there is nothing that can be done. The student handbook defines aggressive behavior as inappropriate conduct that is repeated enough or serious enough to negatively impact a student's educational, physical, and emotional well-being. Furthermore, on page 19 of the handbook, it specifically mentions bullying through an electronic act as an act committed through the use of cellular, telephone, computer, pager, personal communication device, or other electronic communication devices. This description says nothing about the location of the harassment. The handbook also states that a zero tolerance bullying policy on page 14 when referring to the student code of conduct. Obviously not. On May 2nd, I posted my frustrations with the academic center and how they have handled bullying situations for the past four years. I immediately started getting comments from other parents in the same position. My inbox was flooded with stories from parents who expressed their concerns, only to have them fall on deaf ears. Some stories astounded me and even made me sick to my stomach. These parents are forced to make alternative arrangements for their children, such as pulling them out of school, using open enrollment and other communities, and even homeschooling. I previously mentioned a friend of my daughter, who she's been speaking up for. She spent some time last year in the hospital for a suicide attempt. The same group of girls that made her feel so hopeless that she attempted to take her own life have been allowed to continue to harass her. On May 2nd, she begged her mom to stay home and texted her wanting to leave school early, saying, "They are starting again." Why should any child feel such fear and anxiety that the only solution is to stay home from school or take their life? The years a child spends in school should be spent making memories, learning, building friendships, and not dreading to come to school in fear of harassment. I understand that this is more than just a North Ridgeville problem. I've heard from parents in other countless districts facing the same thing. Regardless, North Ridgeville should see this as an opportunity to address this issue head on, setting the bar for other schools. I'm not asking the schools to parent my child. That is my job. However, the position of the school and the administration is to keep my child safe during the school day so that they can learn. My child will be entering high school next year. Other parents have assured me that the problem only gets worse from here. Other parents and I want to know how this issue will be addressed and a timeline of when we can expect these changes to be made. I hope this board can understand that as a parent, I will do what I need to keep my child safe. I will continue to make my voice heard until something changes. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you coming this evening. And obviously, superintendents, we taking notes. They will take a look at this. We do take bullying very seriously. No child should ever have to go through anything like that. And you're absolutely right. Our commitment is that all the children can come to school and have a safe environment in which to learn and to grow and develop. And I'm sorry your child's experienced things that I don't want to see, or any of us want to see any. I appreciate you coming here tonight. All too often people rather do this in the parking lot and social forums. So I appreciate the courage in coming here on behalf of your children.
I was
Speaking
told by
up on-
many other parents that they'd be here as well, and
Again, social media and the forum tends to be a place that a lot of these conversations are had. So I appreciate your courage and again, standing up for your children and quite frankly, the children of other parents that aren't here this evening to speak up. But we do take it very seriously. You absolutely have a commitment, not just from the Board of Education, but the entire school district, that we do everything within our means to deal with bullying. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that's not an easy fix because it typically happens in a way that the students are doing it in the hallways and in areas where we don't necessarily witness it firsthand. But the commitment stands that we will do everything we can to address these issues for your child and every other child that goes to North Ridgeville City Schools. Know that we're taking you serious, and the superintendent heard you, and quite frankly, everybody in this room really heard you and clearly seen your motivation. So
Thank you.
good for your daughter standing up on behalf of other students that are in the same boat. Tell her, that's outstanding, and that takes a lot of courage as well. So she has every right to be proud of that. Okay.
Rebecca, should somebody open that door or a door? Since this is a public meeting.
Absolutely. It's a public meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh, that's okay. I'd rather hear her open the door back up than worry about that. All right, we're gonna move into the consent agenda this evening. Ms. Saxon.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda resolution as presented.
Moved.
Ms. McCarthy, second by Ms. Tamara. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. And we'll move into other board business. Mr. Tamara.
It's page 12.
Okay, I'm back to page. Sorry, Michael. Especially knowing you found us millions of dollars.
So exciting. Just give me a minute here to share my screen. So, I didn't need the passcode.
All right.
All right. Thank you very much, President Baca, Superintendent Casario, members of the board. 5-year forecast, the May update. Let's get right into it. So 5-year forecast, this is a requirement by Ohio Revised Code under statute 5705-391. The forecast is required twice a year. We do this in May and November. The last one we approved was November of 2022. The format, some basics here, 3 years of historical data is what we report on, and then 5 years projected out. And please note, we are only looking at the general fund, which is the district's main operating fund where the majority of our expenses come from to operate. So we have actual revenue and expenditures through fiscal year 22, and then projected out 5 years, projected revenue and expenditures through fiscal year 27. We use the forecast in several different ways, but these are some of the major ways that we use it. First and foremost, it serves as the district's communication device. It's a working document. We use it to assess the financial health of the school district. We use it to engage the board and the community in our long-range planning. It serves as our roadmap, kind of giving us an indication of where we are and where we're going. Provides information used in the decision-making process. It's a basis for the approval of contracts and various agreements. And finally, it is a method for organizations like the Auditor of State's Office and Ohio Department of Education to identify school districts with potential financial issues. The 5-year forecast is not an exact depiction of future events. Like I said, it is very much a working document. There are several assumptions that we base this information on. We use the most current information that we have, what we know, and there are always other events that impact the 5-year forecast. Ongoing impact and recovery from COVID-19, especially, and especially as it relates to learning loss. Enrollment trends, that's especially important for North Ridgeville. We have seen continuous growth in our student enrollments, which has created challenges in several areas for us. The utilization of federal funding, especially ESSER funding, I think you will start to see a lot of districts start to get themselves in fiscal emergency as we start seeing these ESSER funds run out, because this has provided a lot of districts time and ability to operate. And through my analysis here, about 2 years, I would say we would be in a similar situation 2 years ago. So that is the amount of time that those ESSER funds have provided the district. I mean, it's been a blessing, but we definitely have to be ready for those funds because that was one-time funding. Current and future state budgets, our state funding, that's always a factor in the 5-year forecast, and specifically the Fair School Funding Plan, the continuation of the state's new funding formula. Economic forces, supply chain issues, impact on real estate markets and valuations. We are a real estate heavy district. So definitely that will always impact our 5-year forecast especially. And then of course, other market factors, unforeseen events. In summary here, the 5-year forecast, we have increasing revenues, as you can see from the illustration here. We also have increasing expenses. We are projecting a fairly large surplus in fiscal year 23, followed by deficit spending throughout the forecast period. Now that surplus we're seeing there is primarily due to how we have managed those ESSER funds by taking all of those funds and offsetting existing salary expenditures all at once has helped improve our financial outlook here. We have basically bought ourselves time with the way that we have managed these funds. And by my analysis, pushing out those deficit spending approximately 2 years, I would say. Those expenses will come back to the general fund in fiscal year 24. It's next fiscal year. So that is contributing to that large deficit you see there. Another factor contributing to that deficit with the failure of the second attempt failure of the recent bond issue during the May election, the district has kind of firmed up its plan, revised its plan to address the need for additional space. So there has been a certain portion of the cash balance, the general fund cash balance, projected there in the 5-year forecast to address those needs for a growing level of students that will occupy our current building configuration. I'm talking about modular units, adding additional modular units in various areas of the district. So therefore, we will see an increased expenses in our capital outlay. And that's why you start to see that deficit kind of fall off. We're still deficit spending, but not as much as next fiscal year. For the most part, this is a somewhat improved forecast compared to the one that we had in November. There are several reasons for that, some of which I just mentioned. From a cash balance perspective, we are within our 90 days cash on hand, with that 5th year being the closest at 112 days there. Still deficit spending, which is not ideal, but stable. Revenues, that just shows our total revenue trend throughout the forecast period. Trend ranges from 51.3 to 57.8 million by the last year on our 5-year forecast. That is an average increase of 1.6 million throughout the forecast period. And those increases are coming primarily from what we have projected for our growth in real estate revenue. Our real estate revenue came in higher than anticipated, and that was due to a very large amount of new construction being added to the tax duplicate all at one time. It hit all at once, and it was the highest that we had ever seen in 6 years at least that went back. So, and we've just constantly been seeing that trend. 2024 will be a reappraisal year, and that will go into effect in 25. Revenue sources, or revenue by source, you can kind of see the breakdown of what makes up our total revenue. By far, real estate, 60% of the district's total revenue. It is our largest revenue source. And as I mentioned, we are continuing to see growth in that area. It's been a very steady, strong growth. Our second revenue source, largest revenue source, is state funding. And I want to talk a little bit about that and how it impacts, how it actually does not help North Ridgeville with the Fair School Funding Plan. So just a little bit of background with this, the recent budget process, there were the following key elements that were introduced regarding the Fair School Funding Plan. That it would continue, number one, and that it would be funded at the same 2018 base cost calculations. And that original phase-in timeline of that formula would continue. I think they wanted to phase it in over a 6-year period. So those key elements were introduced at the start of this most recent budget process. So that's exactly what the forecast assumes here. And that does include the funding guarantees, which you will see why that is especially important to us. Like I said, it began fiscal year 22. That funding plan was introduced. It was to be implemented over 6 years. The formula is driven by a base cost methodology with 4 components necessary to the education process. So that's how they are basing what it costs to educate a student. And that is they come up with that using 2 years of statewide average from historical data. And North Ridgeville, under this plan, receives very, very minor net increases in funding under a fully implemented Fair School Funding Plan. We actually continue to be funded on a guaranteed basis, which we are being guaranteed our 2021 funding levels. Just to put that in perspective, you see that dot there on the illustration, that is us. That is how far on the guarantee we are. So we are being guaranteed just to keep our funding levels where they were in 2021. We at full phase in, it just shows you the disparity still that exists here with this plan. There's some districts that are in the gray areas there. They would gain more than 150% of what they received in 2021. And some districts would lose the greatest at 85% less than what they received in 2021. Without those guarantees, as part of this plan moving forward, we would actually be funded 37% less than what we received in 21. Just another illustration here where that yellow dot is, that is our district. And the more that this gets phased in, we're on the guarantee this year for 1.4 million. By the time we get to that 5th year on the 5-year forecast, our reliance on that guarantee grows to 7.7 million. And that would be under a fully implemented plan. So one of the big reasons why that is happening is because the Fair School Funding Plan relies upon local property values and taxpayer incomes to determine the local portion of base cost. There's a state portion and a local portion of the base cost. They use the most current valuations and taxpayer income to calculate that each fiscal year. So from 2016 to 2020, North Ridgeville's valuation and taxpayer inputs changed by 13%. So as I had mentioned, we have seen that slow, steady, very strong growth in our total assessed valuation. Well, we've been seeing a very steady growth in the district's taxpayer income as well. And that is one of the major reasons why that is still heavily weighted in this state funding formula. So we are at least being guaranteed that state funding, which I'm thankful for. But it is very flatlined throughout the forecast for our state funding. And it makes us more and more reliant on our tax base. And looking at our expenses here, 58.9%, 20.3% salaries and benefits, followed by 12.9% purchase services. That is a very typical makeup of expenses by object. Now you can see the trend throughout the forecast period. That trend is increasing. A little bit higher rate than our revenues, but that is increasing as well. About 48.8 to 60.5 million on average, $2.3 million increase annually throughout this forecast period. Those increases are coming primarily from staffing, benefits. You can see the big jump from 23 to 24, where all those salaries that we are currently charging off to ESSER come back into the general fund now. And you can also see the increased capital outlay expenditures there that we have projected for our space, to address our space needs there in fiscal year 24. So the overall trend increasing revenues, increasing expenses. We are stable. We are within 30%. Expenditures are within 30% of our cash balance by the time we get to that 5th year on the 5-year forecast. But this is something that we definitely have to keep an eye on because we are deficit spending, and we don't want to let that go too long and then it become a very significant problem. But this is a slow worsening financial stability over time. So we will have to look at doing something within the forecast period here so that this does not become a very immediate problem. I mean, the revenue base is strong, especially in the real estate area, but it's not always going to have the capacity to offset these deficits, that are on the horizon, compensate for enrollment growth and everything else that comes along with a growing district. The team has done an excellent job here, controlling costs with staffing, budgetary measures, and we've been awarded several competitive grant opportunities that have all contributed to this. But like I said, we will need to eventually look to do something on the revenue side. That concludes my report for you. A comprehensive report of the forecast will be available on the treasurer's office page of the district's website. I'll have that posted tomorrow. Board, have any questions?
A couple of things, Michael. First of all, does Columbus have a different definition of what the word fair means?
I wondered the same thing. It's kind of ironic.
To say it's a joke, but I've been doing this long enough to know that that's an understatement. So correct me if I'm wrong. So I want to have a clear understanding. I want the community to have a clear understanding. So the calculations based on a 2018 number were flatlined pretty much from 21 through 27 as far as revenue.
Yes.
And our expenses will continue to go up. And then in conjunction with that, making the picture even more difficult moving forward is a failed bond levy that now requires general funds monies that are already going to be in deficit spent
To address our space needs.
So I understood all that correctly.
Yes.
And all of this is in hopes that Columbus doesn't change anything down the road.
Correct. I mean, that one chart that I had showed, that scares me. Like in that 4th and 5th year when we're $7.7 million on the guarantee for our state funding. I mean, that's pretty scary. I don't think that they would ever just do away with that, but you never know.
And again, for the community's benefit, I can't imagine that I would have the same revenue 9 years from now in hopes that I'd be in a good place financially. I can't comprehend that. And yes, and then making my family bigger as the growth continues in North Ridgeville, because I don't anticipate that slowing down anytime soon based on the properties that are still available to have
Right.
homes built here in North Ridgeville.
I don't know any company that hasn't raised their prices in 10 or 20 years and they're still in business.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, Mr. Persini, so when you were talking about the growth in real estate, that growth is captured through our substitute levy, is that correct?
Yes, a portion of that, yeah.
Okay, so like without that substitute levy, we would not be able to capture the growth of new construction.
Correct.
Is that accurate?
If they were still just standalone emergency levies, they would just be dollar levies, flat dollar amount levies, no more, no less.
Okay,
So yeah, combining them into that substitute has allowed for additional revenue based on that new construction growth, yes.
thank you. So I guess part of my point in mentioning that or asking that question was, that's not necessarily saying that the taxes for current homeowners are increasing, except for based on their home evaluation. Is that right?
Say that one more.
I don't know if I can. I'm asking, so our growth, right? They're used to this. So the growth that we have in real estate isn't because our current homeowners are being taxed more. It's because we are gaining,
It's a combination of both.
okay,
It is, it's both. Like when valuations go up, your taxes will go up, but it's only on a specific portion of our millage. It's not everything that we have out there across the board. It's a piece of our millage. And that happens once you hit the 20 mil floor. And we did hit that. It was 1 or 2 years ago. And so we cannot, because the growth in our valuation has been, we have not seen very much increase for years and years and years.
right.
And once you hit that floor, like the millage cannot be reduced anymore. I know I'm like getting kind of deep in the weeds here, but our millage
That's the only
cannot,
portion that.
it can't be reduced any further than it already has. And there's been a long period of time where we haven't seen any substantial increases because of that throughout that time. And it's actually pretty amazing that, North Ridgeville has done a great job and has made it last as long as they have.
Some of us have been through those significantly more than it's not be. So hoping that forecast gets.
We're continuously looking for ways that we can be efficient and get better. I mean, and that's what we do every day. But like I said, if we're going to be a big district, we're going to be a big district. There's other forces that are beyond anybody else's control here.
Right.
And that can only happen for so long before you need a different plan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you to our entire team and to your team, Mr. Cassini as well. We really do a great job with our resources and grants that have been obtained through individuals in this room and throughout the district. We do everything we can to offset the costs, and we're very fiscally responsible with the monies that you've entrusted to us. But back to the bond issue. Bottom line, when he talks about additional space, anything and everything we do without a passed bond issue is temporary. These aren't permanent additions on our buildings. These are trailers. I don't know how else to say it. They're mobile homes. They're not conducive to education. It's a temporary fix to a long-term problem. And without a passage of a bond issue, we're going to continue to spend money from our general fund that we quite frankly don't have. Every dollar we take out of the general fund takes away opportunities for our students and curriculum and electives. And I mean, that's just, I don't know how else to say that. It's imperative that we pass a bond issue. Nobody likes new taxes. I understand that. But all of us have a responsibility to the children of this community. And quite frankly, if you want the valuation of your property to continue to go up, a solid school district's part of that equation, period. I don't know how else to say this. So again, we need your support. I'm still hopeful. The results aren't official. But hey, we'll see what happens in a couple of days when they do. But in the event that it stands as is, we need your support. There's no other way to say this. Sorry.
Thank you. That's okay. Don't apologize.
All right.
So it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the financial reports for April 2023 and the 5-year forecast as presented by Mr. Cassini. I move to approve these items in one reading.
Second. Moved by Ms. McCarthy, second by Mr. Grigsby. Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. All right, I believe I'm on the right page. Other board business, Ms.
Yes,
Tamira?
thank you. We have 2 items to consider under the education report. First, is recommended that the Board of Education approve a supervised overnight field trip for North Ridgeville High School girls basketball players to travel to Columbus, Ohio for the girls basketball team camp on June 3rd and 4th, 2023. Second, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the Connect service contract as of July 1st, 2023 between Connect and the North Ridgeville City School District upon the terms and conditions as stated in the contract. I move to approve the education report in one reading. Second.
by Mrs. Tamira, second by Ms. McCarthy. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Human Resources Report, Ms. Saxon.
We have a few items to consider under the Human Resources Report. 3 certified staff appointments, 6 student summer worker contracts, 1 hourly tutor 2022-2023 contract, 4 hourly tutor 2023-2024 contracts, 7 extended school year certified staff contracts, 3 extended school year support staff contracts, non-renewals of certified leave replacements, non-renewals of hourly tutors, 1 administrative staff resignation, and 2 certified staff resignations. I move to approve the human resources items in 1 reading.
Moved by Ms. Saxon, second by Ms. Tamira. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. It is recommended that the Board of Education adjourn this regular meeting.
Second.
Tamira, second by Ms. McCarthy. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. McCarthy,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. Saxon,
Yes.
Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.